realizes, oh, I was just dreaming that I was Eric for a while there. That was an interesting dream. I think that's what makes sense to me as what is happening, at least metaphorically speaking, on a large scale, because we're experiencing something here that was purposefully created, intelligently designed. Like everything around us speaks to there being order and complexity beyond any kind of Big Bang or some abstraction like that. And so we're here in this created realm, and we can look around and see a lot of things that aren't perfect. Like I was saying, like we all get sick and age and die. Some people are born with terrible infirmities and are tortured basically their whole life until they die, and their entire experience on Earth is one of pain. Like I said, that is most people's end of life experience. Your life basically is going to get more and more painful and torturous, and then one day you're going to die. That's just one aspect. And then, like I said, parasites. Why are there parasites? Why is that a thing? Did Earth need to have parasites for it to work when God was creating Earth? Everything was absolutely perfect, and then he's like, oh, wait a minute, let's create ringworms and tapeworms and ticks, and there's so many things like that you could point to that aren't necessary. And if I was the all-powerful creator about to create a world that I was going to dream in or send subjective packets of myself, Eric, I get to be a character in my video game that I just created. Well, I would say that this video game, I don't like it like that much. Like, I think, like, just sitting here doing a thought experiment, I think I could create a better video game just by taking what's already here, because there's a lot of great stuff here, and then taking out a bunch of negative things. There's just a bunch of negative stuff that does not have to be in this video game for me to play it and enjoy myself. And furthermore, it's really in heating. It's really not letting me enjoy. The fact that I'm gonna get old and die, and I'm gonna forget everything, and then maybe have to reincarnate again, and there's all of these, or the fact that I have to eat to live. Like, I haven't eaten animals for 15 years, but we have to eat something that lives. Even if you just eat plants, you still have to take the life of something just to survive in this realm. Like, that's another thing. It's like, why? If this is just a video game created by a God, and we're video game players in God's game, why the cannibalism? Like, why is everything eating everything else? Like, and some things are like predators and carnivores, and like that's what it does. It just eats things, and it's like, I don't need that in my reality. So at the base level, the thing that brings me to the idea of the soul trap is something like this. Just the fact that there's so much negativity and things that are like natural disasters. Why did you do that, God? You could have had a place without them, but you decided, hey. And so the best answer I could come up with is, well, this is like a violent video game. This is like a particular video game where you want all that stuff. You want predators and parasites, and everyone is eating everything else, and you get mind wiped every lifetime so that you don't remember that you're God just having a dream. You think you're really Eric the whole life, and you are this subjective experience, and so if that's the case, then there must be other video games, or at least there could be better video games or better levels, in which case I want to play them. I want to go there. In which case, this is a soul trap of some sorts, unless you're saying that this reality and the way that it is the only reality in existence and the only way it could possibly be. Oh, you want to live in a place with no natural disasters and no parasites, Eric? Sorry, it's impossible. God can't create that realm. What? You know what I mean? God, the omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent creator. There's by definition, there's nothing that being can't do. So don't tell me that I can't live in a better realm than this. So all it is, basically, I'm just saying that I notice things that I don't like in reality, and I know that there could be a reality that I can imagine that doesn't have these things, and therefore I want to go there, and I'm not satisfied with this reality. And I think that is potentially step one to you being able to leave this reality. And if instead you think that you were created by a benevolent, all-loving God that created this, and this is the only reality that you could possibly live in, and you have karma, and if you don't live perfectly in this subpar realm with all these negative, aspects and psychopaths running around, if you do something that you might feel a little bit guilty for in your life review, you have to come back to the school of life to, solve that karma, because you didn't do good enough to come to a better realm. And again, if we're all just subjective packets of God, little video game characters created, why do we have to evolve into something that deserves to live in a better realm? Why can't we just live in a better realm? What is this idea that, oh, you lowly humans, God created you like turd on the bottom of his shoe, and you have to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps to be worthy of living in any better realm than this one? Like, and most religions, pretty much all of them that exist today, do the opposite. They just praise whatever created this realm as being the most loving thing ever, and like all you need to do is sing songs to him and pray to him or whatever and praise his name or something. And there's multiple religions, and billions of people live their life this way, and they think that if you appease this deity enough, that he'll let you into his special place, heaven. Oh, pray 5 times a day or whatever. Oh, Jesus, I accept Jesus into my heart, and I'm so Christian, and I can absolve myself, confess my sins, blah, blah, let me into heaven. What if, and that's what they think is the first step to getting into a better place. Maybe. I'm not even going to say that's not. But all I'm saying is maybe the first step isn't following these religions and praising whatever deity created this place. Maybe the first step to getting to a better realm is being skeptical of this one, being skeptical of the deity, being skeptical of the afterlife experience and the people that come to you, being skeptical that this is the only reality possible, being skeptical that you did consent 100% to having all your memories wiped and coming to this subpar realm. Skepticism is what allowed me to discover the flat earth and many other conspiracies and many other things that have enriched my life in this realm. Not belief. Belief is the opposite of skepticism, and belief got me in trouble as a kid. Believe in Jesus like everyone else around me until I start seeing how crazy it is, just as an example. But there's so many things, literally anything I would say, that you believe in, you're deluding yourself. Belief is overstepping the bounds of knowledge. Believing is what people do when they don't really know. And if you really don't know, then say, I don't know. Don't create a doctrine and a dogma and believe it and then defend that belief against other people to the death. Just accept that you don't know. It's fine. I don't know either. If we all just accepted that we're on this common ground, religion is gone. There's no need for it. That's all religion is people overstepping the bounds of knowledge, and then, I'm in this camp, I'm in that camp, let's battle it out. It's like, yeah, but none of you know. What are you battling? Just be in the camp that we're all actually in, which is the I don't know camp, and we can discuss it like, civilized people.
Wow. That had to be one of the most powerful 20 minutes I think anybody has ever spoken. I mean, you talk about the flat earth being the most magnificent, the greatest conspiracy, but really the soul trap probably trumps it. no pun intended. But I mean, what you just laid out there is just incredible. Uh, yeah, I think what you said is what most intelligent people think when they're that are open-minded about the soul trap and religion. It I mean, do you talk about intelligent design? You say that this world is created obviously with intelligent design. You talked about the Earth and the sun, or the moon and the sun being 400 times bigger and 400 times farther away. There's so many obvious pieces of evidence showing that this is a creative design. Do you believe, like, I'm sure you've heard of simulation theory. I've talked about it on my channel. Do you believe that this is like a coded universe created by a creator, with math and maybe code? Or do you think it's more of something that is intangible, something that is maybe ethereal? Do you have any thoughts on that? The whole simulation argument and the Matrix movies and all that stuff?
Right. Um, yeah, simulation theory seems to be the new phrase being given to the most ancient concept that there is, which is the Vedic scriptures, which say that this entire reality is Maya, which means illusion. And so the idea is that all of physical reality is ultimately illusory, and the true reality is beyond the material realm. So it's consciousness, basically. And I would say that makes a lot more sense to me than the opposite worldview, which is what's being pushed today, the materialist worldview that out of nowhere and nothing, a Big Bang explosion happens, and then consciousness and other immaterial things like thoughts and emotions and everything just suddenly come into existence all through physical means. Now that, I mean, no matter what kind of explosion you create, that can never make sense to me. But if you go the other way around, and instead of starting with the physicality, you start with the immaterial consciousness. So there's an immaterial consciousness that potentially always exists. It just is. So it's awareness, like the thing that you're aware, I'm aware, all the animals are aware. It's the capacity for experience is what awareness is. So the capacity for experience probably just always is. And the original experiencer, the originating consciousness, would be the thing people like to call God. And that would be what is dreaming this dream that we're all subjective players in. And so consciousness, in that sense, like I said, every night we dream and we think we're in these worlds. I'm in a castle and there's a dragon and all these things are happening. There's trees and mountains. I believe it, and then I think I'm there, and there's all these other characters that are in it, and then I wake up, and it's like, oh, none of those things existed. None of those people existed. That castle didn't exist. The dragon didn't exist. The only thing that existed was my consciousness, and my consciousness was creating that seemingly physical world, that Maya, that illusory physical world, that simulation, and that's what I would say we're doing here, is we're living in this simulation or this created reality, and we are created beings, and we've been separated from our creator in such a way that we're all in that I don't know space that I said. Again, that's another thing that it's like, why do we have to not know? Couldn't you dream this reality and know that you were doing it and it would still be fun? Like, is it that bad to have that little inkling in the back of your consciousness to know that this is a created reality and you are God? You have to have a complete memory wipe? These are questions I have. I don't have the answer to it. I don't know. I can't remember. Don't remember if I consented to this or not. And I don't know if it was if full disclosure was given before I consented. That's the other thing. Maybe I consented, but there was all these things, and they told me it was going to be this way, and maybe it wasn't. So got lots of questions on that one. But anyway, to answer your question, yeah, simulation, matrix, Maya, whatever you want to call it, that makes way more sense to me than Big Bang cosmology. Everything comes from material explanation, and there's no spirituality or immaterial thing in existence.
I definitely think the soul trap versus the whole benevolent God, and this is a learning lab, or so to speak, for us for consciousness. It's definitely one of the biggest truths. I don't know, or I guess you would say one of the biggest discussions or debates. Not, I mean, the flat Earth is another thing. It's more physical, but there's a lot to this, Eric. I don't know. I'm just going to continue on exploring it and reading more on the soul trap. I want to know more about it, but I don't want viewers to get upset with me just because I'm looking into it or talking about it.
Likewise, yeah. It's just where my journey has taken me. I don't find it to be a belief, and I'm not wholeheartedly saying that, this matrix reincarnation soul trap idea, the way it's been laid out, is some new doctrine, some new dogma. Certainly not. It's the exact opposite of what we need. All I'm saying is that when you have a open mind to look at the available evidence, from near-death experiences to ayahuasca, DMT, and these kind of things, to hypno regression, the overarching message that seems to keep coming back is that this very well could be either a school of life or a soul trap. And I think, like you said, I think it's a very interesting subject to delve into, and not necessarily need to believe one way or the other, because we'll all find out when the time comes. And that, I think, is go time. Like, I think the moment of death, rather than being this ending, is actually a beginning, like the most important beginning. In a sense, we may be in a purgatory right now, and this is all just the pre-game. And the real game starts the moment you die. And that very well may be the test that decides whether you have to come back to this purgatory or if you get to graduate somewhere else. And I use that term, graduate, when we talk about the life being a school or a prison. If it's a school, there's two ways out of school, right? You can graduate or you can drop out. With prison, you either break out or you serve your time. The school of life people seem to say that serve your time. This world is great, but it's not the best, and you deserve to be in this subpar realm for many, 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 many lifetimes until you can graduate to the better realm. And I say, what about the people that just want to drop out? And if that's not an option, is this really a school? Mm-hmm. If I can't drop out of it, it sounds more like a prison. Just like public schools in some places nowadays that are mandatory, and they have compulsory laws so that you cannot not go to school and learn their propagandistic curriculum and be forced to only take bathroom breaks when the security guard at the head of the blackboard allows you to. And many things that we accept as being school are very prison-like. And I wonder if that metaphor